Hello everybody, this is David, and today I'm going to be doing a video on my top 10 favorite Power Rangers series of all time. This will be my least favorite to my favorite, and the reason I'm doing this is because of the latest Power Ranger news about Roberto Orci and the X-Men First Class writers handling the film. So that got me a little excited, and I thought, why not, do a top 10 list of my all-time favorite series. That way, if anybody out there is thinking of going back and watching past seasons, or if there's ones you've missed and you want to maybe catch up on some, because Power Rangers is still running today for, a 20-plus year series. It's surprising that for a lot of people that, hey, it never stopped. Yeah, it never did, and so that's the cool thing. And as someone who has seen every season, yeah, I thought it would be fun to put a list together, because every fan who's been part of this fandom for a long time has their own favorite seasons. That's the great thing about the show, is that not everyone loves the same season. Everyone loves some, they hate others, and some are in between. And that's what this list is kind of for. To kind of show you what are my favorite seasons, and maybe you want to go check them out, and maybe you'll enjoy them more than the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. As of right now, though, let's begin my list, my top 10 favorite Power Ranger series. Number 10, I have Power Rangers Zeo. Zeo was the first season to really change things, because that was the first season that they changed the costumes. And that's not the reason why I liked it, though. I actually thought the villains were a little weak in that season. To me, Power Rangers Zeo really gets better, though, when the Gold Ranger is introduced. And especially when Jason returns to take over the Gold Ranger powers. And, Jason, for those of you that don't know, was the original Red Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Number 9, I have Power Rangers SPD. SPD had a great cast. I'm gonna say that, and the season was a lot of fun. It wasn't my favorite season of all time, obviously. That's why it's number 9 on my list. But it was a really cool season, and there was a different tone to it than the seasons that came before, because the producer that had taken over, Bruce Kalish, this was his first season, and he really had a different tone. And the thing that this Power Rangers season, this is one that took place in the future, whereas all the Power Ranger seasons before this took place in the present time. This one took place in the year 2025. Now we're getting closer and closer to the year 2025, and our future looks nothing like that. But Back to the Future also did something like that, and yeah, well, okay. I can't really pick a favorite moment, but if I had to, I'd probably pick the episode where Sky learns the truth about his father.
What a horrible memory. I can only imagine how hard that was for you.
I'll never forget it.
Of course not. Thank you, Ranger. That's the most amusing story I've heard in years.
What?
My 8th favorite season is Power Rangers Lightspeed Rescue. The Green Ranger was definitely the best character in this season. In the beginning, I never really cared too much for this season, but I guess as the years went by and I looked back at the season and rewatched it a couple of times, I realized this season is actually pretty cool. The characters aren't amazing, but a lot of them are really cool and good. Despite a few not so great characters. But one of the highlights of this season is the debut of the Titanium Ranger, who was the very first American Ranger ever to be put on the series. And nothing like that would happen again until the Spirit Rangers in Power Rangers Jungle Fury. But definitely he's had maybe one of the best debuts for a 6th Ranger since Tommy, the original Green Ranger. My seventh favorite season would have to be Power Rangers Dino Thunder. This was a cool season, not just because Tommy returned as the mentor of this team, but it was just a cool update of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It was practically Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but with a more up-to-date twist to it. Like the Rangers, unlike the original series where the Rangers all got along together and they were, the jock and the geek and the cool guy and the valley girl, they were all friends. This one kind of took that idea, but they had them throughout the series. They weren't the good group teamwork kind of, that got along. They had issues with one another. And to me, that's what made the series fun, and seeing that development grow within that team. And I thought that was one of the strong points of the season. One of my favorite moments of the season, though, was when it was a Tommy focus episode, and he had to fight 3 of his past selves: the Red Zeo Ranger, the White Ranger, and the Green Ranger.
You passed the test.
Test? What are you talking about?
You haven't been fighting us. You've been fighting for your life. And you've proven your will to live is stronger than any Ranger power.
My sixth favorite season would have to be Power Rangers Jungle Fury. I thought this, out of all the seasons that have come after, this was probably the closest to a Mighty Morphin feel that we'll ever get to. And even though some seasons tried, but they failed at capturing the magic, I think Jungle Fury really came close because they didn't try too hard, and they still stayed as their own individual season. Like, they still had their own tone to it, but I think Jungle Fury kept it simple, and the characters were all cool. RJ, to me, is one of the greatest Rangers out there in Power Ranger history. He's just so damn cool, not just as a mentor, but as a Ranger too. The three Rangers, Casey, Theo, and Lily, were all really great Rangers. I even enjoyed the villains in this season, and I noticed a lot of the Disney season villains weren't as interesting as the early Saban era villains. My fifth favorite season would have to be the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This one I'm kind of cheating because I'm actually grouping all 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin together. So really this is more for season 2 and 3 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because to me season 1 is a little weak in the beginning, and it really gets better when Tommy returns after losing his powers. He returns for a short amount of time until season 2, where he loses them completely. And one of my all-time favorite moments, though, is in season 3, when Lord Zed enters the command center. And to me, I remember as a kid, I was like freaking out. This was like amazing. I think I was like only 12 or 13 at the time, so it was like really cool to see something like that happen.
Greetings, my friends. Isn't anyone going to ask me how my trip was?
My fourth favorite season of all time would have to be Power Rangers Lost Galaxy. This was a great season that followed Power Rangers in Space. Not just because it was space, and space is cool, and it came out sometime during the whole Star Wars fanatic, because Star Wars Episode 1 was coming out that year. But it was just like, it had a neat concept. It was about this colony that was going out traveling to find a new world for human civilization, and obviously the Rangers on board of Terra Venture, which was the spaceship, had to protect it. And the characters were just great. The episode ideas were fun, and but the highlight, I think, of the season was not just the finale. It had one of the best finales of all time, but it also had one of the greatest moments of all time, which was during a team-up. And team-ups are usually a lot of fun. But the thing that happened in this team-up was one of the Rangers died during battle to save another Ranger. which was the guest star. And the reason behind the scenes for that was that the Pink Ranger, Valerie Vernon, who played Kendricks, she got leukemia. And thankfully she recovered, and that's why she returned in the finale from what I've read. And that's why, Kendricks thankfully returned at the end of the series, and that's why she returned the following year in the team up with Lightspeed Rescue. So, the way they constructed that episode was like really well done, and that's why it's a highlight for a lot of fans.
I'm okay. I'll always be here.
My third favorite season would have to be Power Rangers RPM. This was supposed to be the final season of Power Rangers. This aired during 2009 from February to, or was it March? February or March to November of 2009. And it was such, if this was the last season, I would have been okay with it because it was a great season. What really made this season, though, was everything. The writing was like actually really good for Power Rangers. It wasn't amazing writing. Like, this is a kid's show, so I don't think they put a lot of it. I think they put as much effort as they can. But the characters and the storyline was really good. I mean, this is a Ranger season that took place in an apocalyptic future where machines have taken over. It sounds very much like Terminator and The Matrix, I know, and it is. And the character of the Black Ranger is a lot like Wolverine, because he's this character that has robotic pieces inside of him, and he's forgotten his past. He doesn't remember who he is or where he came from. And to me, that's what made the season a lot of fun. It had really cool, compelling characters, and for a Power Ranger series, and the actors were actually all really, really cool. Like, the actress who played the Yellow Ranger right now she was playing Tinkerbell in Once Upon a Time. I don't know if she'll return, but she's going to be in the new CW show iZombie, so she's really doing good for herself. And I know Dan Ewing, who played Dylan, the Black Ranger, is becoming pretty big in Australia, so that's pretty cool for, and Ika Darville, who played the Red Ranger, he has been appearing in, I seen him in Spartacus. He was in the first season of Spartacus, and I saw him later in Terra Nova, I think the show was. It was a show that Spielberg produced, and I watched it, and even though I didn't get into that show, it was cool seeing that, he was still doing good on his own right, because I thought the whole cast of Power Rangers RPM was really cool. And one of my favorite moments in the series, though, were the small character moments, specifically with Dylan and Summer. I thought those two had great chemistry together that, to me, those scenes really clicked a lot.
Hello at last. Can I be honest with you?
Give it a shot.
Yellow is definitely not your color.
My second favorite series of all time is Power Rangers Time Force. Time travel. If you do time travel right, it could be a lot of fun. And Time Force did it pretty good for a Power Rangers series. And I thought the cast in this season was a lot of fun. They were really great, especially Irene Cahill, Jason Font, and Dan Ewing. I thought those three were, like, obviously the best. And funny enough, those were the three that the season had centered on the most. And that's kind of what pisses off a lot of fans, though, is that when a season focuses more on some Rangers rather than others, because the show's called Power Rangers and it should be focused on the team, the whole team. And to me, as long as the season is good, I don't care who it's focused on. Just give me a good season. Because Power Rangers RPM was focused mostly on Dylan. So why don't you guys complain about that? There's so many great moments and episodes in this season. I really was having trouble trying to decide but then I thought to myself, I really like that episode where Alex finally returns. Alex, who was Jen's fiance in the beginning of the series, but was thought to be killed off, returned. And this was all while Wes and Jen's relationship was growing through the season. So, oh shit, the ex-boyfriend is back, coming to take back his girlfriend and possibly his entire team, while Wes was growing great into that role. And it was really tragic when Alex told you, look, you're going to do what you're told to do because this is what, destiny has told you. And it was a great episode about how anyone can change their future. It doesn't matter what you think your future is going to be. You decide what your future is going to be. And that's the great thing about that episode and why I really enjoyed it.
You'll fulfill your destiny and take over Biolab. Because your father will die tomorrow. What? I just saw my dad this morning. He's fine.
Wes, it's Eric. Do you read?
Go ahead, Eric.
Your father's been injured. I think you should come to the hospital right away. It looks real bad.
I'm sorry about your father. But you can't change your destiny.
My number one favorite season of all time is Power Rangers in Space. This season was supposed to be the season that was going to close the doors. It did close the doors on many Power Ranger plot points, and it was going to be the final season. Because the seasons at that time were Mighty Morphin Power Rangers had 3 seasons. Power Rangers Zeo was the 4th. Power Rangers Turbo was the 5th. And Power Rangers in Space was going to be the last. Because Zeo and Turbo had their ratings and their toy sales were declining. Except during the second half of Turbo, when they made the switch of new actors or new characters, the ratings and the toy sales actually started growing a little bit more. And Power Rangers in Space, because it continued from where Turbo left off, had established these fun characters that a lot of people grew to love, and so the ratings were really good. The toy sales were high again, and yeah, Power Rangers in Space was back to being the number one boy brand for kids. I remember they even had a contest. I don't know if it was rigged or not, but Power Rangers, Fox Kids had this little TV contest where they had people voting in for their own shows, and Power Rangers in Space beat out Spider-Man the Animated Series and other animated shows that were on Fox Kids at the time. And it was really cool because I love Power Rangers in Space, and obviously because it's my number one favorite series of all time, right guys? Favorite moment or episode, Countdown to Destruction, hands down, is my favorite Power Rangers episode of all time. This was the finale. It played like a finale. Literally, I thought this was going to be the end when I saw this, and it was going to be the end. If you see the way it's all played out and written, they practically destroy the villains from the first 6 seasons of Power Rangers. Lord Zed, Rita turned to humans, the Machine Empires turned to dust, even Divatox is turned into a human. And obviously the best moment that every fan will always remember is when Zordon was destroyed by Andros.
Andros, listen to me. It is your duty as a Power Ranger to save the universe. Now is the time.
So that was my top 10 list, guys, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like this video, if you didn't, still like this video, and tell me what your top 10 lists are of Power Ranger seasons throughout the ages. I know everybody has their own favorite seasons, so that's really cool. Operation Overdrive was never going to make my top 10. That's all the way at the bottom. Just in case you were wondering what my least favorite Power Ranger series of all time it would be that one. As for Megaforce and Super Megaforce, the latest seasons, I guess Megaforce was actually number 11, so it almost made the list. I'm enjoying it, but I don't think it's that great. I think it's just an average season at most. I think there's a lot of liberties they could be taking that they're not, so they fail in that aspect. But yeah, other than that, Power Rangers is always cool to me. I mean, it's a kid show, and it's entertaining kids, not adults. And if we like it, that's just an extra plus for them, in my opinion. So, yeah, guys. I guess that's it, right? Hope to see you guys next time. Watch my videos, subscribe, and like them, and spread the word around about my videos, how lame they are, and how I laugh at my own jokes. Okay? Take care.